It's time for the Chicago Real Estate Beat here on 1340 WJOL. Here's Ken Houbolt from Houbolt Real Estate, Ray Graylick of Graylick Insurance, Timmy Yanahan, the mortgage man of Caliber Home Loans, Kevin Barry from the Barry Law Group. This is the Chicago Real Estate Beat on 1340 WJOL.
Welcome to another edition of Chicago Real Estate Beat, brought to you by the accounting firm of DeAndre and Associates. This segment is brought to you by our friends at Chicago Title. Let's say hello to the crew. Ray Graylick from Graylick Insurance.
Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for listening.
Timmy, the mortgage man, Yanahan from Caliber Home Loans.
Hello, everyone out there.
And I'm Ken Houbolt with Houbolt Real Estate. We got a good show for you today. We're going to talk in the second segment. We're going to be talking about a new idea that's come up lately. And I know Caliber Home Loans has already jumped on it, where they're no longer using appraisals. And there's some good things and there's some bad things. And Timmy's going to lead us through there too. Also during that segment is the appraisal is part of the underwriting process. And we know a lot of folks, we had a lot of closings this week. And a lot of people said, we know when you start out, you have the, you get pre-approved. We go out, we get the list of homes. We're looking on the computer. We go out, we look at houses. We find the house, we negotiate the contract. We do the home inspection. Then all of a sudden, nothing. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. I know Timmy's looking forward to that.
Sure. Give some information about the downtime, as we call it.
Too, and then on the last segment, fellas, I know we talked about this last week too, is that we drive by and we see 1 million mattress shops. I mean, you're talking, you got Bob's Furniture saying he's got the black mattress. This guy's got this. This guy's got that mattress. There's a mattress stores everywhere. You got it in there too. So, we talked about, I went and bought one for my daughter when she was going off to college, and I said, how do I know that what's going on there too? So we're going to go through. There was an article in the Tribune that talked about sleeping easy with these tips. So we're going to go through that in the second segment. So we're going to have a little bit of fun with that. And then coming up at the end of this segment, Houbolt Real Estate is going to make an announcement about a service that they're going to be offering to apartment building owners with 5 or more units. But before we get to that, Timmy, what do you have going on this week, and what's going on?
Great. First off, I hope everyone had a nice long Labor Day weekend. I know I did. I enjoyed myself. I got out with family and friends, a little golf, a little R&R, some barbecue. It was a nice overall weekend. Recharged the batteries. Lucky enough to get 3 contracts over the weekend, which was really nice. So people were still working. I stayed local, so I did a little bit of work each day just to keep ahead of the game. Being that we had Monday off, I kind of got all my ducks in a row for the new week. So just getting things going. Like I said, August was a superior month, and September looks more of the same, guys. It looks like people are really getting out in there, and some of this inventory is finally moving.
Yeah, one thing I think they said, there was an article on National Association of Realtors today, is that for the 4th month in a row that the number of houses that have closed has gone down. And that, again, I think the inventory is going down. I think it's important. That's why we're going to talk about what we're talking about in the second segment on there too. I know you had a bunch of closings, as did I, on there too, and as did Kevin. What else are you seeing? What are you advising your clients to do to make sure, that they do? And I mean, just this weekend alone, we had a veteran that came in from the Marine Corps. We had a retired gentleman, and we had a family that's doing a buy and a sell with us too, just this weekend alone.
Right.
So,
and that's on top of the 3 contracts I had that already were pre-approved people. So there's a lot of.
Don't try to one up me, Timmy. Don't do it, Pally.
No one up it, but it's just good to see that type of activity. And like you said, what I would advise is what we're telling our people and what we talked about with our customers just prior to coming on, is make sure you're really have your paperwork together. So we're not going out and looking at properties that maybe you cannot get into. And if you are looking at these properties, because inventory is a little bit tighter, you're going to be a little bit more apt to get that contract if you're showing the seller and the seller's agent the confidence in your lender and the presentation you're giving as far as your ability to buy. We try to do a real good job about that at Caliber Home Loans. We make sure that we're getting these customers prepped and making sure that they give us the paperwork up front. It's more of a pre-approval process where we do all the legwork up front and then kind of coast through the other parts of it.
Timmy always mentioned about the pre-approval process, and I think that we got to, really push that hard with our listeners that don't go looking out for a home that you're not pre-approved yet. You don't know how much you can spend. I know Ken won't even probably deal with many because the inventories are shrinking and there are a lot of qualified buyers out there. I would say that getting pre-approved is a must.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Tim, we've seen over time and time that sometimes we've gone in and we've had, because we were pre-approved since and everything was documented, that we were able to get the house even though we weren't the best bidder at times on it too.
Well, again, it goes to what the seller is looking for. It's an emotional time on both sides, folks. And so what happens if a seller sees a young couple that is starting off a new family, they kind of look back as to when they started. And there's emotions that come in, and so at times you're going to see, as long as our customers are taken care of and pre-approved the proper way, where the only thing that can really break the deal is in an inspection or an appraisal. At that point, their financials are in order. A lot of times, $5,000 more on a contract doesn't mean as much to an older couple trying to get rid of their home, because they want to see somebody in it that's like them. They're caring about their neighbors and so forth.
Hey, Ken, are you seeing a lot of deals coming in with contingency agreements?
Some, there's times that we just talked to the gentleman earlier today that a gentleman, in order to buy, they're moving up to the house too. One of the things that I always talk about since the crash in 2008 and then on the recovery was that, and we've talked it on our show many times, is that the millennials weren't buying the starter houses on there too. They were opting to rent, although as we've discussed, those are starting to change. One of the things is that usually is that the young kids come in and they buy the starter homes. The starter homes move up to a little bit bigger house. Those people move into the house that they're going to really raise the family into. And then those people are going into the condo market. Well, we saw that totally change for a while. I think you're getting back to answer your question, Ray, is that you're getting a little bit back to the traditional market where people are starting to move up too. We've worked with a great family that's moving in Oak Lawn from one house to another. I just got a call before we went on air. Another gentleman is found a house that he likes, but he needs to sell his too. So we'll be helping him out as well.
What's the time constraints on those contingencies? 30, 60, 90s? Are people willing to? Is a seller willing to take a contingency sale?
It depends. There's a couple things I think in the mind too. That's a great question. One, you look at it and say, okay, is the house priced right? Just as you're always looking at, we do the CMAs for the buyers, we do CMAs for the sellers. You also I'm going to do a CMA if you're going contingent on one of my listings. I'm going to make sure your house is priced right and it's doing the things where it should be.
Ken, why don't you tell everybody what a CMA is?
CMA is a competitive market analysis where we take a look at what's going on in the market. We look at what is your competition, what is active in the market too, and what is contingent on sale. And then we also have the houses that have closed in the last 6 months. Now that there's enough inventory, we're able to look at that too. And then I also look at things that were canceled or did not sell. Why didn't those houses sell? Maybe it helps us prevent from making those mistakes. So it's part of the process when we start out and when we look at listing somebody's house. That's one of the first things we're going to do, and we're able to best position that house for whether we're working with the buyer, the seller, or on a contingent contract.
Good stuff, Ken.
Ray, what do you got for us this week?
Well, folks out there, I think there are several things that most homeowners would assume are covered by their insurance, but unfortunately, there are a lot of things that are not. And when time comes to pay the bill after a major incident, the last thing you probably want to find out is that your insurance company will pay for it. So here's a few things you need to know, and I'm going to go through several coverages that may or may not be included on your insurance policy, but could possibly be purchased for additional endorsements. First is mold. On most insurance policies, mold is either exclusively excluded or it's only limited to maybe 5,000 or 10,000. So whereas a home wouldn't have mold damage over years, and it's just basically destroyed home. It was a big deal down in Texas about a decade or so ago.
I think it's going to be a big deal in Texas.
You better believe it. You better believe it. I've heard black mold's already in there, and it's destroying clothes and everything in closets. It's unbelievable.
Just to interject, so going back a few shows back, guys, when we had the inspector on, and he had mentioned most homes have mold. It's just what type of mold they have.
Yeah, there's hundreds of types of mold. That's where you want to be.
That comes into play as well, I would guess, right?
They say the most aggressive mold is the black mold. That's what they're seeing down in Texas. And there were people who just returned a week later. Well, some aren't even allowed yet into their homes, but they're opening up closets and seeing literally clothing destroyed by the black mold, and it's only taken about 7 or 10 days. It's unbelievable. The next thing that many people don't have and may need and they should purchase, is sewer backup coverage for a lower level basement. Usually it's not included. If you buy up, you'll have to pay a little bit more, but it's also covered. And it is different than flood, which is the next one. Flood insurance is generally an excluded or not covered loss on your homeowner's policy. So in order to get that coverage, you need to purchase it through the National Flood Insurance Program, which, I heard there was a statistic that about 70% of people in Houston did not have flood insurance.
Yeah.
So,
I actually heard it might have been a little bit higher.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Ray, not stepping into it, but NAR, National Association of Realtors, just sent out an email to all the members asking that we talk to our congressman about having mandatory flood insurance for homeowners on there, too.
I think they should. I really do, because, it doesn't take much for a river or stream to overflow. You see it up in, North Cook County, Fox Lake, that whole area up there flooded three times in the last 10 years.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, next thing, I think people don't understand when you're doing construction work at your home. If you're renovating your home, a standard homeowner's insurance policy won't cover any damage done to your house. You probably would have to purchase a builder's risk policy and attach it and make sure that any licensed contractor you're doing is licensed and they have liability coverage for anything that they could do wrong. Next is like jewelry coverage. Many people think, hey, I own jewelry. It's my personal property. Wouldn't it be covered? Well, yeah, some of it's covered, but jewelry, watches, and furs, they're limited on most homeowners' insurance policies.
So that Mr. T starter set's not covered if you don't have
yeah,
insurance.
No, it makes my neck all green. And just to cover one more, guys, earthquake. People don't believe it that, hey, is earthquake covered? No, it's not covered. It could be included if you buy the endorsement. Here in Illinois, there are some areas maybe a little further down south that could be in a fault area, generally from, central Illinois up to the northern part here where we're at. It's generally not necessary, but I wouldn't say, hey, you never know what could happen. So, there you have it, guys.
Good stuff there, too. So
no fault of your own.
Yeah, no fault of your own.
Yeah, remember, if you're in question about your insurance policy, give Ray or your insurance professional a call. They'll be happy to take a review for it. You should review it on a regular basis, if not annually.
Yeah, that's a good point, Ken. We constantly talk to people about reviewing their insurance. You just can't buy something today, folks, and just throw in a drawer and expect that, it's going to take care of itself. And I think you need to be dealing with an insurance professional who's going to take the initiative to talk to you about changes in your life. And next week I'll talk a little bit about that. When might be a good opportunity to, get together with your insurance agent about certain changes in life that would require a really good sit down with your insurance professional. But I also want to, warn you that, a lot of insurance companies out there, once they get you, they throw you in a drawer and you're kind of forgotten until, time you need. So, just keep in mind reviews are, when life changes, your insurance should change with it.
Well, that's awesome point. And I would also like to include your mortgage checkup. I think annually people should look at their mortgage. Some people in certain areas, they may have put 10% down a couple of years ago. With the price of properties going up, you may be able to drop that in mortgage insurance. So always check in with your mortgage professionals.
I know you recommend Billy Mannion to come out and do another appraisal for him over at Mannion Appraisals. We just did it a couple of weeks ago. That was great to save your client extra money.
Tim, you've only got a couple of minutes to break, but I want to ask you a little bit about something called private mortgage insurance. I think you can go through telling the definition of it, but when is the opportune time to try to relook at trying to get that removed, and what do you do to get it removed?
Great call. So I got one this morning for a gentleman, and he's in the Downers Grove area, and he bought the house, and he had purchased a lease option to buy. So during his process, real quick, he ended up getting
into the house.
Yeah, he got in the house, but what happened was he already had equity into the property.
Sure.
So typically your lender will review that after a 12-month payment history and the equity position of over 80%. Some lenders vary on the actual loan to value that they'll allow. But the process simply is this. You have to have a current mortgage history is paid as agreed, okay? And you also have to have a letter to request it and an appraisal that's paid for by the customer to have it removed. Those are the three basic steps in most cases.
We're talking a lot about reviews and keeping everything up to date. September marks Life Insurance Awareness Month. And I just want to, throw that reminder out that, people out there whom, feel that, hey, I'm young, I'm strong, I feel great. Life insurance is something you really, really need to have. It should be part of your family estate plan. It could be part of just, hey, if something happens to me, what's going to happen to my property? What's going to happen to my family? Are they going to be able to still live that same lifestyle, maintain the home and all that? So I just want to make everybody aware of that. September is Life Insurance Awareness Month. So, you can contact me through the Chicago Real Estate network at www.cren.biz. You can find my information. I love to sit down, review your insurance, talk to you about life insurance, and I think we're going to be going to break pretty soon, right, Ken?
Yeah, too. But before we do that, that brings up a good point too. Another member of CREN is Joe Meston, and one of the things that Joe likes to do too is work side by side with Ray. I know you guys talked about last time we were out about how some of the deals that you guys worked on
and
together.
Also with Zenon, Zenon from DeAndre,
Yeah, you got to include your accountant,
right.
So, with the tax ramifications, especially if you're a business owner, you'll be able to check them out.
Joey does a great job, financial planning. I mean, from everything from just, hey, if you're a self-employed business owner and you need to set up a retirement fund for yourself or your employees, he's the guy to do that. He can also be reached on our CREN network at CREN.biz, as well as Zenon from DeAndre Associates. And that's, obviously, I like to describe CREN like a library. You don't have to know where every book is or what's in it, but you need to know where to find it when you need it. So visit www.cren.biz.
Great. Before we go to break, guys, I know I mentioned earlier that at Houbolt Real Estate, we're going to be starting a new program within the next few weeks on there, too. Often I'm called out to speak with owners of apartment buildings, 5 or more units on there, too. And they're thinking about selling in the near future, whether they're going to retire, get out of the business, maybe they want to pass along to their kids or whatever it might be. They always talk about how do I increase the value of it, too, in the near term on there, too. So, the way to do that is to increase your income on the building, so raising rents or looking for other opportunities within there too, or lowering expenses. So those are the two things you can do to increase value on a portfolio on there too, because you don't use comps, you just use the economics of the building. So starting in October 1st, we're going to be giving out free portfolio financial reviews. So just go to CREN if you have a building that's 5 or more units and you would like me to come by, take a look at your portfolio, whether it's one building, 10, 20, whatever it might be. I'll be happy to do so. Sit down with you, show you where you might be able to have some savings. If not, you got a peace of mind. So I think we've been talking doing a lot of reviewing here today too, especially as we change seasons, we look to change things up a little bit, and so we're definitely going to be talking about that a little bit more, and we're going to start that in October. So go ahead on CREN and CREN.biz, and my information's on there. We'll talk about there too. We're going to take a break right now. It's 12:32. Thanks to Chicago Title for sponsoring that segment. You're listening to Chicago Real Estate Beat, brought to you by the accounting firm of DeAndre and Associates on WJOL, Will County's News, Talk, and Sports. We'll be right back.
Graylick Insurance Agency is an independent insurance agency representing several companies in auto, home, commercial, and workers' comp insurance. The cornerstone of our agency is our ability to tailor-make policies and provide insurance choices with top-rated insurance companies. The Graylick Insurance Agency is your one-stop resource for all of your insurance needs. We put you first and work within your budget. Contact us today at 773-284-7650, GraylickAgency.com.
Caliber Home Loans Incorporated, NMLS 15622, is an equal housing lender and an Illinois residential mortgage license number MB0004043, 1431 Opus Place, Suite 135, Downers Grove, Illinois 60515. Not all customers will qualify. Other restrictions and limitations apply.
This is the Chicago Real Estate Beat on 1340 WJOL.
Welcome back to Chicago Real Estate Beat, brought to you by the accounting firm of DeAndre and Associates. This segment is brought to you by our friends at Caliber Home Loans. Along with Ray Graylick, Timmy Yanahan, I'm Ken Houbolt. And guys, we mentioned earlier that during this segment we were going to talk about appraisal-free sales on there too. And we're also going to talk a little bit about what happens during the underwriting process on there too. But before we get to that, one of the hot topics in the appraisal side is appraisal-free sales. They cut costs, but they may carry risk in there too. So there was an article in this week's Trib by Kenneth Harney, and it's no relation. It was just the first name that's the same on there too. So
Surprise! I'm surprised.
The question that he asks is, would you welcome the option to buy a house but not have to pay hundreds of dollars for an appraisal? Are you kidding? Sign me up, you might say. Who doesn't want to save $500 or $700 for someone to confirm the price that you and the home seller agreed to make sense? Appraisals are mainly for lenders, right? If an appraisal-free home purchase sounds intriguing to you, you might be interested in groundbreaking new policy changes by the two largest funding sources, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. Both governmental chartered are willing to waive the decade-old home process there too. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit too, and it says, simple as that. If you opt for no appraisal, you will immediately know whether your contract price is acceptable for the mortgage amount you are seeking. All right, so Timmy, what do you know? This is obviously right in your wheelhouse too. Often that we know, there's times that's especially now that you're seeing a big increase in the price of houses. We say, is that going to appraise out? What do you think about this, Tim? You want to start us off?
Right off the bat, from what Caliber Home Loans outlook is, that I've seen is they will look at it on a refinance at this point. They're testing certain markets for this, and you got to walk real lightly with this one, because here's the problem that I see is that an appraiser goes into the property and he actually does an inspection and evaluation of other comparables that are like properties. Well, here's the problem I see. Your property might have upgrades that, Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac's website isn't seeing. And so I see people getting hurt on that. And conversely, it might be a real, a lot of deferred maintenance in that property. It might be a real eyesore when you walk in. So the outside looks reasonable and nice, but you get inside and, we have all been in those homes, Ray, as you do your insurance, Kenny, when you're walking through to do your listing, and me, a lot of times I'll go meet customers at their homes and do their applications there. Some of them aren't upkept. And so I think that could hurt us in that area. I don't see them coming up. They're talk about maybe coming up at higher loan of values with less than 20% down. I think that could be a real issue. A refinance is one thing, but when you're purchasing a property, I think it might do a disservice to both parties, because there's a lot involved with that, guys.
They talk about the appraiser nowadays blessing the deal. If you now as simple as if you opt out for no appraisal, immediately whether your contract price is acceptable for the mortgage amount you're seeking. But I got to tell you, if this was insurance related, this would never fly. Physical inspections are required on my part, and then Big Brother's out there, the inspection company for the insurance companies out there, double checking my work. So something like this would never fly in the insurance area.
Yeah, I think one of the things too is that if you look back to pre-2008, when it was people just signing, we've talked hundreds of hours about the fraud, the illegal things that went on during then too. Maybe they weren't fraud, maybe they weren't illegal at the time, but they weren't right on there too. I just hope that this doesn't lend itself to going back to things like that too, because it's not there too. I think with the appraisal, there are easier way to get comps. We talked about a CMA. A comp is CMA is comparable to an appraisal, that it compares the properties, but it's a little bit more in depth, a little bit more scientific than.
Meaning an appraiser is.
Yes, exactly, too. So, we just talked about Billy Mannion, our guy, too, and when he was on, he talked about the things that you could do to help increase the value of your home, listing all the improvements you made on your house, talking about kitchens and baths and whatnot in there, too. So,
and have supporting documentation, folks. Here, it's real important. If you put some new cabinets in and you new countertops, to the eye you can see it, but if you furnish those type of documents and things and work orders to your appraiser to get a property increase on the value, it goes a long way. Believe me, I'm personal friends with several appraisers, and they we talk about things sometimes, shop once in a while on that, and it does lend into that.
Yeah, they'd say the eligible properties for the Fannie Mae version of the program include single family homes, second homes, and condos. Co-ops, multi-unit, manufactured homes aren't allowed. They say you'll need at least 20% equity, like you mentioned earlier, Timmy. But Freddie's program is slightly more restrictive. It's limited single-family unit houses that are used as the borrower's principal residence. No second homes, houses valued at more than $1 million are not eligible.
All right, you're out.
It requires 20% equity stake. You know, I got to tell you guys a story. Just to interrupt our
All
piece
right,
here,
when we're
but,
flowing good,
you
now
know,
you got to hear the story.
I borrowed Kenny $10 a long time ago, and he paid me back. And as I looked at the back of the bill, it said, "Happy 5th birthday, love, Auntie," to Kenny. So you're talking about somebody's got his graduation money.
You were
over
working
here.
all week on that joke, too.
I
don't think it
really
went
was.
that good.
I knew he was going to fly something, so I had to come back. But it says, not surprisingly, opinions on the two giant companies' departure from strict dependence on traditional appraisals may vary widely. I know appraisers think the idea stinks. In a statement for this column, the country's largest appraisal group, the Chicago-based Appraisal Institute, predicted that the elimination of humans from the process, even a little to start, will be dangerous for lenders, Fannie and Freddie, and the public. The group warned that the changes could result in a race to the bottom in terms of loan quality and create more risk for taxpayers.
I have to agree with that statement. I'm I represent a lender, a large corporation, and I will tell you that I know we're doing it very delicately at this point. I know that they're looking at ways to help increase the process and into a seamless situation. I get that part, but I do worry about the fact is that there's going to be properties that are coming through, and if you have a situation where this property gets God forbid foreclosed on for all parties involved, what's the recovery? And then it does come out to the taxpayers at the end. And, they foot the bill at the end. So I also look at, what are we gaining by it? We're gaining time frame. We're saving the customer a little, money. Not that $500 is a little, but in the scheme of things, guys, when you're buying a property that's tens and thousands and sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars, I would rest more easily, if you will, easy for me to say, if I paid the $500 and knew that I had a sound appraisal,
Timmy,
that's my take.
Timmy, to the contrary, that article says that real estate brokers generally see the companies, and I'm not sure if this is Ken's opinion or not, but they see the limited moves as worthwhile, particularly given the recent frequent delays in delivery of appraisals, higher fees to buyers because of surcharges by appraisal management companies, and few appraisers available. I know we had an entire segment on appraisals and fees and costs and hidden costs and all that stuff. It goes on to say that a new survey of members by the National Association of Realtors found that appraisal issues were involved in 17% of all delayed home sale closings, second only to the problem in obtaining mortgages. It's a big deal, but I got to tell you, I wouldn't buy a car without kicking the tires. I wouldn't buy a car without sitting in it. I wouldn't buy a car without driving it. Why would you buy your home or at least be a lender and say, hey, I'm going to borrow you, hundreds of thousands of dollars to a purchase that, we really don't have anybody that was hands and eyes and boots on the ground, to look at this thing.
So, again, here's the argument. If you're putting enough equity down or enough down payment to absorb that equity position, it may make sense in certain situations. But, let's be honest. I don't see a ton of people putting 20% down in these market times. I just don't. Rarely does it happen. Usually I'm seeing, you're 3.5%, you're 5%, in some cases 3% down. A veteran, the VA, they do 100% financing, guys. So I don't ever see it coming to those terms. But I've been wrong before. So
a lot of different opinions out there.
Exactly.
Yeah, we'll let you know when you're wrong again there, Tim.
You usually do.
Hey, one of the things we talked about earlier too, and when you get done, when we talked about you call Timmy, you get pre-approved, you call Ray to say, hey, I'm thinking about buying a house. What kind of insurance protection am I going to need? Once you get pre-approved, you're going to call me, and then we're going to start looking for the process of the houses to go out, look at them, and whatnot too. We fill out the app, we fill out everything that we need to do. And then we find the house, and then we do the home inspection. Then there's a lull in the process for usually a couple of weeks on there too. So there's in yesterday's trip, they talked about the 5 key underwriting process. We just talked about one of them was appraisal. Verification. Timmy, why don't you run us through what verification is?
Well, verification is kind of what the underwriter is going to do, and it's part of the old operations department. So we do the pre-approval. We do the upfront, you do a AUS or automated underwriting system approval based on information provided by the borrower. So we do an initial verification, but then my work's checked by my assistant, Stephanie Wedner, and then it goes to processor. Processor goes through and verifies, orders appraisal, and then refinances, orders title. Typically on a purchase transaction, the title's coming from the seller's attorney side. But that's part of the verification process where we do an initial underwrite. The underwriter looks at the, all the paperwork. Typically, I don't have many conditions after because I do all the, legwork up front.
Right,
and that's why it goes really smooth with our process, the way we do it. I know there's several other lenders out there doing the same thing. But I can tell you our ops department is so good at communication that we're really ahead of the game in that area. Then it goes into the topic we talked about.
Yeah, so verification is obviously important. We did talk about the appraisal. Our good friend Joe Logan over at Chicago Title helps us out immensely. He was on last week. It was great to have Joe there. Hopefully he's not out golfing again, but he's not there too. But title insurance, title search and title insurance is very important. Ray, why don't you take us through that? Well,
it talks a little bit after the appraiser has looked at the physical side of your house. The title company now is going to look at the legal history of your home. The lender doesn't want to lend money against a house that may have claims on it, and that's why a title company performs a title search, right, Timmy?
Right.
The title company will research the history of the property, look for encumbrances such as mortgages, claims, liens, easement rights, zoning ordinances, and pending legal action. Sometimes even unpaid taxes show up and restricted covenants. So the title insurer then issues a policy that guarantees the accuracy of that work, and then your lender requires the title policy to protect them, and then in some cases, two policies might be issued: one to protect the lender and one to protect the home, the property owner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so make sure if you have any title questions, go to the CREN.biz, the Chicago Land Real Estate Network website, and Joe Logan's information is on there, and he can help you out there too. Timmy, what about flood certification? That's obviously a big topic that we've been talking about for the past couple of weeks, and God bless all those folks down in Houston.
Exactly. My heart goes out to those individuals in Texas and Louisiana. Ray, this is right up your alley with the flood insurance. We need a flood cert as a lender, folks. What a flood cert is, it's certifying either you're in a zone or you're not in a zone. As we look at, there's not too many areas, if any, that I'm knowing of in the city limits of Chicago that are in a flood zone.
Not many.
Very few.
What about if you're in Lake Michigan? That's covered in Chicago.
There you go.
But I mean, conversely, look at how many times those homes in that certain areas have flooded in the city. So flood insurance in that situation, that's a no-brainer. I mean, if you've had situation, I lived by Midway Airport area for years. And obviously, if a big downpour comes, they're not flooding the airport. The airport's going to have the runoff go into the neighborhood surrounding.
Absolutely.
And we've seen that, guys. Growing up, all three of us are from the Midway area. Growing up, and we've seen that.
Folks, if you think you may be in a flood-prone area, you can check out any property on floodsmart.gov. It's floodsmart.gov before you even start searching for your new home.
That's good stuff too. Yeah, it's really important too. And again, remember, if you're not sure of your insurance qualifications or of what you have, give Ray a call and he'll be happy to help you out. The last part of that too is that we talk about the 5 things that happen after the initial surge of all the work that gets done. Some of the behind the scenes thing is a survey. Ray, why don't you take us through the survey?
Yeah, well, the survey, finally some lenders will be able to require that a home's property boundaries be verified by a professional survey. While all this material is being gathered, you can help by taking these 3 steps as a homeowner. Provide complete documentation with your application. Respond promptly to your lender's request for more information. Call your lender and real estate agent to check on your loan and application status. Help contact employers and others who may need to provide documentation for your loan. And finally, keep records of your conversations with your lender. And I'm sure Timmy does so with his clients.
Well, you know what? One of the great options we have as a lender with Caliber is we do automatic updates for all of our borrowers. So as long as you have an email address, we send you updates as to when your application goes into underwriting. Firstly, processing, underwriting when the appraisal is ordered, when it's completed. So I'll get a call. Sometimes I haven't checked my emails. I might be out in the field, and a customer calls, "Hey, I got my appraisal back. What's the value? Well, I have to check it out. So it's nice that they are part of the transaction with our company.
Folks, I worked with Caliber on an out-of-state purchase a year ago, and they were fantastic. I mean, that communication was key to a guy like me. I liked that email. I liked all the things that I could, without having to actually pick up a phone.
It saves time.
Yes, and then when I did pick up a phone, I mean, all the Caliber people were, responsive, and I mean, I'm plugging you a little bit, but you know what?
Well, it's true.
It was true.
It's true.
Well, maybe Timmy will buy lunch for all the plugs we gave him today. Hey, we're going to take a break right now. So there you have it. You got the five things that happen in the back of the house, as we say, after the initial work is done for the getting the loan. So when you're wondering why there's a lull in the process, that's what's going on there too. So we want to thank Caliber Home Loans for sponsoring that segment. You're listening to Chicago Real Estate Beat, brought to you by the accounting firm of DeAndre and Associates. The time is 12:51 on WJOL, Will County's News, Talk, and Sports. We'll be right back.
Graylick Insurance Agency is an independent insurance agency representing several companies in auto, home, commercial, and workers' comp insurance. The cornerstone of our agency is our ability to tailor-make policies and provide insurance choices with top-rated insurance companies. The Graylick Insurance Agency is your one-stop resource for all of your insurance needs. We put you first and work within your budget. Contact us today at 773-284-7650, GraylickAgency.com.
I'm Carol McGowan with 1340 WJOL's Community Calendar. Get involved in the mission of Veterans Outreach in Kendall County. Become a member, sponsor, or volunteer. Their mission is to help and serve all separated or returning home veterans. This is a community group, and they strive to make a difference in the lives of Kendall County veterans. They are not part of the government or Kendall County and raise the funds themselves. For more information, call 630-636-8229. And cruise nights at the Stone City VFW, $21.99, located at 124 Stone City Drive in Joliet, the corner of 53 and Laraway. They take place on Wednesdays through September, 6 to 9 p.m. It's brought to you by Cruising for the Vets. Again, takes place every Wednesday through September. Cruise nights at the Stone City VFW, 6 to 9 p.m. That's the community calendar for 1340 WJOL, Will County's News, Talk, Sports.
This is the Chicago Real Estate Beat on 1340 WJOL.
Hold on.
Welcome back to Chicago Real Estate Beat, brought to you by the accounting firm of DeAndre and Associates. This segment is brought to you by the Chicagoland Real Estate Network, which can be found at www.cren.biz. Along with Ray Graylick, Timmy Yanahan, I'm Ken Houbolt. And during this segment, guys, I don't know about you, but I'm probably should be in the market for a new mattress on there too. We drive by, we see hundreds of stores that are out there selling them. There's hundreds of commercials that are out there, radio, TV on there too. So what do you do when you go in to buy a mattress on there too?
Geez, I go down, main streets. People have trucks with mattresses sitting out there.
Yeah, they're
I'm not buying one from them, but
Well, hey guys, you know what I think? I think the only thing more exhausting than sleeping on a bad mattress is shopping for a new one. I mean, that's a pain, right? I mean, first you have to withstand mattress salespeople, almost as much pressure as shopping for a car. Then you can't really compare choices among stores because manufacturers make proprietary mattress models for each, and then finally, they're frustrating warranties, which don't cover most of the things that go wrong with the mattresses anyway.
Me too. So, Timmy, who do you think who should be looking in the market for a mattress?
Well, if you wake up stiff or achy, that's a good indication you need a new mattress, folks.
We might have been stiff when we went to sleep, but we're not. It's even worse when you need to wake up that way.
Oh, geez.
How about it?
Or after a night in a hotel, that's another sign. But I will tell you, I recently purchased a mattress that I was probably within the last year, and I'm one that likes a real firm mattress, and I'm very happy with my purchase. But that's who should be getting when, maybe over every 10 years is what they actually suggest. The experts, whoever the experts are, I don't know if that'd be a good job being a mattress tester.
Yeah, exactly. Be a beer tester in your first job, and then be a mattress tester on the second job.
Perfect.
On there too.
Where do I sign up?
On there too. What about where do you think you should buy them at, Ray?
Well, many people default to mattress chain stores or department stores, which tend to carry the most mainstream mattress brands. But most of which seem to begin with an S. But these days there are other options out there, folks, including online mattress stores and makers, high-end sleep shops and local mattress stores. They say to consider shopping around, though, because there are a lot of competitions out there in pricing. If there are, you ever see these smaller wholesale furniture stores where they only have a small selection, and then they can go on and order, and usually you're coming in at about a 40% discount then going to a retail store. I mean, I've seen mattress stores, on every third, fourth traffic light going up and down, main major busy streets. You see them either in the malls or standalone stores or little tiny strips, and you wonder, what's the attraction to become a mattress, business? I mean, so it must be a pretty good business.
Yeah, too. Yeah, if you're laying out too. So why would we buy one, Timmy?
Well, because I want a new mattress to sleep well.
He sleeps a lot. Trust me. I've been trying to wake him up a couple of times.
Even though this seems like some time consuming, it's worth the effort. I mean, at the end of the day, we're in our we're sleeping and we're in our mattress or on our mattresses a third of the day in most cases. It's a big part of our lifetime. So if I know from my perspective, if I wake up irritable, it's usually because I didn't get a nice night's sleep.
Absolutely. Now the article goes on to talk about 4 different types of mattresses that are too. What's the first one, right?
The inner springs. It's the classic mattress with metal coils inside, and they thicken near the surface. And these springs are very affordable. They're probably the most affordable mattresses you can bet. The coils usually are available from different gauges, so the higher the number, the more the like Timmy, you like a fur mattress, and the higher the gauge, probably the thinner.
Me too. What about you look at the memory foam? Who's best suited by that? Maybe like
side sleepers. I think, Kenny. Other people want to reduce pressure, particularly maybe on shoulders and hips, because I sleep on my side, and I do have a lot of shoulder issues because of that, and also for your hips too.
All right. What about when you look at a latex mattress? Easy, Tim. You rub it off on me.
We got stubblitis.
Who those are best for?
Yeah, mattresses are from rubber trees. They say, huh? And they. From my perspective, I don't know much about latex mattresses, so I'm going to leave that up to the professionals.
Probably, people who want more natural materials and strongness too. What about when somebody that's rated using an adjustable air? What do they?
Well, it's best probably for couples with different tastes in mattress, firmness, and all that, and maybe they raise, they lower. You can adjust the I think their Sleep Number might be one of the big brands out there.
I use pillows for that.
Yeah, how about it?
It's amazing how the world's turned.
Well, hopefully those tips have helped you out with the with buying a mattress on there too. So, that'll do it for this week. Thanks to our sponsors, Chicago Title, Caliber Home Loans, the Chicagoland Real Estate Network, and the accounting firm of DeAndre and Associates. You can find them at plainfieldcpa.com, and we'd like to thank our guests, which we didn't have any, so I did it again. And for Ray Graylick, Timmy Yanahan, I'm Ken Houbolt. Thanks for listening to Chicago Real Estate Beat on WJOL, Will County's News, Talk of Sports. We'll see you next week.